Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our special mini series of Joyful Journeys this week, where we are interviewing fantastic, stellar, amazing women who are breaking glass ceilings in our community and striving for equality and really moving every one of us forward and paving the way for the next generation to come up behind them and continue to do amazing things. So today, I am thrilled to be joined by Kera Drabick. She is with the Cook and Boardman Group and works in the construction industry. Definitely not a place where we see women a whole lot. So was thrilled to make this connection with Kera through a great partnership that Girls on the Run has with the National Association of Women in Construction. They are a cohort group that works across the nation, elevating the voices of women in construction, providing connections and fostering relationships in the construction industry for women that are serving in those roles. So, Kera, thank you again for being here today.
It's my pleasure. Very excited to get to talk to everyone and share a little bit about my world in construction.
Absolutely. Yes. So let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about your role at the Cook and Boardman Group and the journey that brought you there and brought you into the construction industry.
So, really funny with the way that I started, I never thought, hey, I'm going to be in construction. It was just not one of those things that you're taught when you're young that you have this opportunity. And in fact, my father was a master electrician. So I grew up with, a very high level master electrician construction based dad who, always had me help him cut the grass and take out the trash. So it wasn't like, we were all, princess or anything, but it was never, hey, why don't you do what I do? That was just not one of those things that happened. And it actually occurred. I was an event planner. I was doing a lot of events, but I was working hours that just did not work with my family. And someone said, hey, we hear you're looking for a change of career. We have an opportunity in the construction industry. We think you're a very organized person and we can teach you construction. And I said, you know what, let's give it a try. And 17 years later, I
Wow.
now am the director of government services for the Cook and Boardman Group. We are a national company that represents the security world, anything physical and electronic security. So it's been a wonderful partnership, and I've had an amazing career path. Was very, very lucky to have a woman basically mentor me early on in my career to teach me the gaps that I had in the actual technical portions of construction. So it's been a lot of women straightening crowns since day one, which will lead me into NAWIC. So NAWIC, short for National Association of Women in Construction, funny enough, has been around since mid 1950s, started by 16 women and out of the Texas region who just saw a need to really support other women in this. I don't like to use the word male dominated. We like to say male populated because men do not dominate this
Ugh.
industry, but they sure do populate it, right? And one of our efforts is to bring more awareness that this industry is actually a very family friendly industry and it is very rewarding for all people that want to get involved, but especially for women. And I was very lucky to have some young women that were right out of Virginia Tech and early on in their career found this organization. I had been in the construction industry for 15 years and didn't even know it existed. And they reached out to me to find out if I was interested in supporting the organization. And I said, anything that helps women grow in our industry, absolutely. And for the last 2 years, I've had the privilege of sitting on the board for the NOVA group, which is where we got to meet you all and get to partner with you on some amazing events. And I have just grown from there. It has been an amazing connection. I have met women from all over the country. And actually, I'll say beyond, because we've met women from Canada that come down from their organization that's a sister of ours.
Mhm.
And it has just been really an amazing, rewarding volunteer position.
That is amazing. I something that resonated, as you're talking about your journey is that jump, especially as young women who may be in their 20s and 30s when they start a family and facing the fact that the career that they had started in maybe doesn't fit that lifestyle anymore, doesn't foster what they need. And that, like you said, construction was the outlet for you to continue to grow your career, find a new career, and be able to also have your family. So it's kind of, that story of you can have the best of both worlds, as a woman. So that is fantastic. And also the fact that you had female mentors kind of reach out to you and help you, over the course of those 17 years. And now it sounds like you're paying it forward as well, mentoring down as, to new women joining this career field. And that, I think that's a thread that we're hearing throughout this week, is that mentorship piece and just reaching back to the women coming up and making sure that they're strong and confident and resilient and prepared for their journeys as well.
Absolutely. As women in general, we are inherently pushed into certain things, and we put certain pressures on ourselves for what we think or what the world around us thinks it should look like. And I think that one of the biggest things that we do with NAWIC is we challenge that. We challenge people to get uncomfortable or get comfortable being uncomfortable. You know, invite yourself to that table. There might be a group of men, but I'll tell you what, any table that I've ever sat down at, no one's ever asked me to leave, right? But just making that step to sit down at that table. And also when you're talking about like other women's and struggles and things, my goal is, if I went through it, not to make you go through it, right? I went through it. Everyone has their own struggles. We all have amazing lives and things that come and go, and each have our own. Why make it harder on the next person? Let's really gift that next generation and that next person interested in doing it to help grow with you and make you both better.
I love that. I love that. Something else, as I was, doing a little bit of research with NAWIC, especially on their website, again, National Association of Women in Construction, there are some pretty cool statistics about women in the construction industry. So kind of how we've been talking this entire week, we'll say male populated careers and fields. There's a small amount of women in them, obviously. So in construction, only 9.9% of the industry is represented by women. But surprisingly, the pay gap is astoundingly small when compared to other professions, where women are earning 95.5% of what their male counterparts earn. In comparison, I think across the board, that number is around the low 80s, maybe 82 or 83. So you guys are surpassing that pay gap and helping to close it much quicker than other industries. What makes construction unique in that way, where women in the industry do have that smaller pay gap?
I credit the National Association for Women in Construction for being a voice that we can all advocate for each other on. But not only that, I mean, the construction industry is very transparent. When you fail, you fail. I mean, and when you succeed, you succeed. It is very hard to deny when people are doing well. And the opportunity to do well and to foster growth for the next person. I mean, they are making huge strides at college level. Not only can you be an entry level right out of high school and succeed at a very top level in construction, but also there are huge programs now at colleges that are fostering growth for women in engineering, in architecture, in HR and finance, but all focused on construction. And when you group all of those together, the numbers don't lie. They cannot continue to pay men more than women when we are as equal to them every day. And again, we're on even playing grounds. Most of our reviews and our KPIs are now the same. So that senior project manager that is running a project that's a male versus that senior project manager who's running a project that's a female, you're held to the same standards. And at the end of the day, the numbers are what speak, and you are kind of in control of your own salary when it comes to that, because you're and I don't like to say your worth is defined by salary. It's not. That is far from what I'm saying. But you cannot deny numbers when they speak volumes about the success women are having in the construction industry. My goodness, we are some multitasking, amazing women. And that is what the construction requires. It's a big skill set for us.
I'll give a shout out. One of our board members, Esther, works in construction for a major firm up here in Northern Virginia. And like you said, that attention to detail, that go-getter personality, like everything you're talking about, I'm like imagining in her. And I see it in every time I speak with a woman from the industry. So that, I mean, it's truly amazing. And that transparency piece, like you mentioned, of course, like you said that. And I'm like sitting here like, oh, light bulb moment. Yeah, you can't deny it. So hopefully we can find other industries where we can make those successes, like you said, as transparent as they seem to be in construction.
Yeah, I will say too, I mean, I've been in this industry 17 years, and I'm not going to tell you that every interaction that I've had with men in the field, especially on the actual construction site,
Yep.
and let alone at the boardroom, has been positive. But what I will tell you is that I've had more positive moments over the last 17 years than negative. And that what I will tell you is that when you bring attention and you educate men and your counterparts on how you feel and what you're doing, and I'm not talking about feelings like you would think. I'm like, when you just say, hey, do you know that when you spoke over me or when you did this, this is what it does in retrospect. And when you have those conversations, it fosters change. And I think that this industry is welcoming change. We are incredibly innovative. The technology that we're using, I mean, there's just no time to be stuck in years past where status quo was accepted.
Yeah.
Status quo is no longer accepted. And I will tell you that 99% of the leaders that I meet want the growth that we want as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's so positive to hear, especially when we're thinking about potentially the next generation, like you said, the girls that are in college right now, those young women, all the way down to the elementary schoolers that will be hitting those college courses, in the next decade or so. Being able to step into a career that is changing is phenomenal. So continuing on that thread of, as you and other women, again, that 9.9% in the construction industry currently, we're going to bump that number up over the next few decades. But why do you think female representation is important in the industry? Why is it important to have a female voice, like you said, at the boardroom and also on the construction sites themselves?
Perspective. I mean, we only know what we know, and we only can experience what we experience, right? So the more diverse that your table gets, whether it be gender, color, it doesn't matter. The more diverse you can make that table, the better your outcome of that project is going to be. I mean, hands down. And I think that's been proven time and time again. I mean, you want to go far. I wish I could remember the saying. It's like, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's so true when it comes to construction, because it is not just one person. I mean, there are hundreds of people involved at all levels, from very blue collar laborers to, account executive and owners of multi-billion-dollar companies. And we are all tasked with working together. So when you can have more diverse perspective, male, female, Black, white, Hispanic, I mean, when you can bring people to the table, and now with the technology, just like we're using right now,
Yeah.
I mean, we can have meetings with people in complete different countries and be, collaborating with them. And that's what makes every project so unique and special. But I'll tell you, construction, you have to think about it in this way also. Construction is the only industry where you are tasked to build something that you don't get to prototype. You have to get it right the first time.
Yeah.
So you could have a multi-million-dollar project. You have one shot. So if you don't surround yourself with the best people in your industry and the most diverse perspectives, you are selling yourself short on that objective.
That's so true. And it's resonating with me a lot because diversity is a really big value here at Girls on the Run. One of the things we celebrate is the differences in us and how those differences actually make us connected. And I think the way you just spoke to perspective and collaboration, teamwork, and how diversity plays into that is it's powerful.
Yeah, it is. And I think one of the things that is wonderful about construction is, yes, I generally focus on my scope every day, but it's changing every day. I mean, there is no building that is exactly the same ever. And so it's so interesting. And when you explain that, and we have our NAWIC camp, our Camp NAWIC, Baltimore chapter just hosted one this summer, which is amazing. And it gives young girls an opportunity to come in and do hands-on and learn hands-on different aspects of construction. And when you hear them talk about that, and you even see the volunteers from NAWIC talk about it and get them excited at just how diverse and just how many opportunities are involved in construction, it's hard not to stay interested, right? It's not boring, I assure you.
That's so true. So circling back around to NAWIC, NAWIC has been a spectacular partner for us here at Girls on the Run. You guys have supported us in doing snack drives and getting out to our events. So, with that, building community and collaborations are important to both of us. Can you talk a little bit about how NAWIC and the connections that it fosters for women in construction have helped build that community, enhance those collaborations, and overall really enhance your career experience?
Yeah. NAWIC is all about growth. And really, all of these organizations are. I mean, Girls on the Run, have been so pleased to watch them. My youngest son is 17, and his friends and I've watched them grow up through that program locally here in Maryland. And so when Valerie brought your organization to Nova, and oh gosh, it wasn't just brain. I need a call out, but I can't remember at the moment. But it was amazing because what you do to give confidence to women is exactly what NAWIC does. We want to support programs that continuously want to build confidence in girls and young women in any circumstance that you're in, to show them, hey, just because it's male populated doesn't mean you can do it. It doesn't mean that because when you were younger, no one offered you the opportunity with a hammer that you shouldn't pick up a hammer, right?
Yeah.
That and it's not a matter of like, oh, we can do it better. No, it's a matter of we can do it too. That's it. It's that we want to sit at the table and we can do it too. And just lighting that fire in women and young girls to realize that there are jobs that are out there that, regardless of what society has told them, are more appropriate for them. I look at it also. My oldest son is a teacher. My oldest son is a teacher. And it's really funny because you have this conversation and they go, a man teacher? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, a
Yeah.
man teacher, and so there's still perspectives from both ways, but having these conversations and again, making people comfortable with things that are uncomfortable. I will tell you with NAWIC, one of the biggest things that they've developed over the last couple of years for adult women is the NAWIC Ambition Theory Leadership Training Academy. It is one of the most amazing leadership trainings that you can get, and was specifically designed for women in construction. Ambition Theory and NAWIC joined together, and Andrea Jensen and Doreen Bartholomew during her presidency, and I got to be part of one of the first cohorts. And it was life-changing for me. The connections that I've made with these legacy women, I call them, our past presidents, and just the leaders that they do not let you fail. You will not fail in this organization. I mean, you have to want to fail as a person in order, once you're in with this group. Like, we straighten each other's crowns. And just coming off of the conference 2 weeks ago, well, 1 week ago, you leave there so refreshed. So we were in Houston, there were 600 plus women in this room. And if one person said, I'm thinking about a new job, there will be 10 women there to tell you, how can I sit down and help you? And let's get you in the right seat. Because that's important, for women to understand that just because you thought it was the right seat when you were 19 or 20 or 22 or 42, it might not be the right seat, and we can continuously change. And we want to recognize that women predominantly think that they have to be much more credentialed in order to apply for a job. And part of the NAWIC confidence building is saying, no, you have the skills. No, you might not have been in that chair, but you certainly can acquire everything that you did here and apply it to everything you're going to do here and be very successful.
That's so important, especially in this day and age where I think there is a lot of kind of like we were talking about, but at the top, there are a lot of women reanalyzing their career. And does it make sense for me right now? Am I happy? Asking themselves a lot of, life questions that are important and needing to answer them. And I love that you said, straightening the crown and just fostering those connections and always being willing to step up and help. I think an organization like NAWIC is so important in an industry like construction because you open the doors to be able to support each other and to be able to help somebody facilitate that life change confidently and empowered. It's truly amazing. I just love how much NAWIC and Girls on the Run are aligned you and I both knew this going into this
Yeah.
conversation, but I hope our listeners are getting that as well. So,
Well, and this year's theme, Karen Hagar, our president this year, she just actually we just transitioned to our new president, Kelly Oss, but Karen Hagar, her theme this year was keys to our future.
oh, love
Right.
that.
Like, and for me in the security world where I do keys, literally, I was like, this is the best theme ever. But it's so true because every single person that's there, I mean, you see these women who have these legacy red jackets who have recruited member after member, and they have been a part of this organization 20, 30, 40, 50 years at this point. It is it's just amazing. And I mean, the energy is contagious.
Yeah, that is so awesome. So speaking of keys to the future, looking towards the future, I know I mentioned it, these elementary schoolers that are in our program right now are about to start our fall season, have participated with us before. They are the future. They're going to be in college in the next decade or so. They're going to be entering the workforce before we know it. So what advice would you give to, let's say, one of our elementary or middle school participants listening in to this episode about exploring a career path where female representation is still growing, like construction, the male populated industries, but we know that number is going to continue to grow? What advice would you give to them?
If you are interested in it, lean in. Women will be here to help you along the way. Men are catching up very quickly, but lean in. If there is something that interests you, even a little bit, or you have a passion for it, but just because people that are in that industry don't look like you be the groundbreaker. You be the person that brings everyone through that door. Do not be afraid to walk through a door. Keep walking through the doors and just try it. Do not hesitate if something brings you passion and joy or that you are interested in, because the right people will help you open those doors. It's amazing.
I love that. I love that door opening and just chasing those passions and those interests. I think a lot of times we have these passions and interests, especially when we're elementary schoolers, when our dreams of the world are so big. And then over time, society wiggles its little way into our subconscious of, oh, maybe I shouldn't try that. Maybe I should go a safe route. I love that. Continue to be groundbreakers.
And again, it's me being door focused, right? Security openings focused. But I joke that when I say I don't ever hit a wall. I hit a locked door and I just got to find the right key. And that's what I want these girls to know, that door might not be open right this minute, but we'll find the right key. We find the right key and you will never have to worry about a locked door again, ever.
That is fantastic. Well, Kera, thank you so much for spending time with us and being a part of this very special series. We are so grateful to you for your time today. We are so grateful to all of the women at the National Association for Women in Construction, especially our Northern Virginia chapter, who supports us so wonderfully throughout the year. So again, thank you for your time and your wisdom sharing and, quite frankly, your inspiration.
It was such a pleasure. And to all the girls starting their fall, what do you call it? A semester? Is that the
fall season? The fall season.
Yeah. When you're at your fall season, don't stop running. Just keep going. Don't stop running.
Awesome. Love that analogy.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Kera.
Okay. Bye.
This episode of Joyful Journeys is brought to you by Girls on the Run of Northern Virginia.